So the universe began to exist, therefore the universe has a cause. We are at the universe has a cause. So this can be something we simply do not understand yet. This can be a law, this can be abstract number and or theorem, or it can be God, ding, 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 which is what I subscribe to as of late. God creating the universe. Now, the first one, and my on-guard, this was supposed to stand up the whole time, and now you gotta take a retake! Okay, we're not gonna do a retake, but no, the first one being, oh gosh, what did I say? Lost my train of thought. But yeah, the first thing just being simply like a law, or, first of all, the law hypothesis is the same equivalent to faith in God. We have no evidence for that. We have guys like Stephen Hawking who say, because gravity can exist, therefore gravity can create the universe. Wow. You know what that sounds like? That sounds like the Bible's true because I know the Bible's true. That sounds like, fallacy, circular reasoning, ding, 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 ding. Even cosmologists can subscribe to it. It happens all the time. Nobody is free from it. So, with respect to that, a law takes about as much faith as an unembodied mind, which is God. So you have to decipher between, is a law capable of doing all this? I mean, a law still requires an explanation of its existence, either out of contingency or out of necessity. And if it's a necessity, then you get out of all the ontological arguments. So we can see that a law itself requires much more evidence than its prudence. However, with the God hypothesis, we still do take faith, but we can see the attributes in the universe and mathematics, in formulation, like in the Bible when it says we have these attributes like God. God created us in his image, not the other way around. And so you get this very unique picture of a God in relation with creation.
Except that is empirically false. Why? Laws have been observed to exist. Your deity, meanwhile, has not. Therefore, when discussing universal formation through necessity, such as described by Stephen Hawking, we are extending upon observed principles. Laws exist. They can be observed because they are by definition our observations of natural processes. Yes, it is not a definitive answer, and there are assumptions being made, but far less than the assumptions being made about the existence, ability, and personality of a deity. By this I mean, does God exist? We've never seen any evidence for God, ever. Would God have the ability to form the universe? If so, we run into trouble with power regression. If something containing as much power as the universe requires something more powerful to form it, then so does God. And lastly, why would God create the universe? Now your scripture makes claims, but those claims lack basis and even basic consistency. You need to therefore explain how an apparent all-powerful deity has desire. And that is a question that exists both on a scientific level, with the question on how does a mind exist without physical networks, as well as the philosophical one on why does God need us? Are we some sort of fuel source, in which case your claims of power are brought into question? So all we have is a universe of natural events, no supernatural elements to speak of. Assuming a further natural event is still an assumption, but much less an assumption than a supernatural event. Therefore, Occam's razor dictates favour for the natural event.
Now the last option is we just don't know, which is what atheists assert. And so when I say here with this Kalam cosmological argument that we think God created the universe, the burden of proof, therefore, ends on the atheist.
No. Actually, it falls on anyone making a claim, which is why Stephen Hawking and others are investigating up to the very limits of the universe to try and find any information to help us locate an answer. They don't wallow in their pride over their ignorance. They seek to fix it. They are taking up the burden on that. Theists, meanwhile, are doing no such thing. Questioning current alternatives does not then validate your alternative, which has zero basis, period.
Because not only do they have to disprove a very well-defended theory or hypothesis why we believe that God created the universe through entropy, thermodynamics, expansion, whatever, singularity, module of cosmology. Not only does the atheist have to disprove that, but the atheist must come forth. I'm not even saying atheist. Anybody who denies this singularity and creation, they must provide another hypothesis for them to defend.
Well, this is based entirely on the fallacious assumption that you have proven your position to be disproven. You have not. You have asserted it and mocked a field of science for taking 30 years to do what theism has been attempting to do for millennia. That is your so-called proving. And no, I do not have to secure an alternative to falsify your position. We don't know yet is an acceptable answer. So we don't know yet, but we can exclude the following is equally acceptable. That is in fact how science works, by disproving all the null and alternative hypotheses until you are left with only the one and verifying your own hypothesis. You have failed to do any such thing. Theism is not well defended. It has been chipped away piece by science, and this is simply one of the last few remaining bastions of theistic ignorance.
So when you say, theists, you are so wrong, blah, 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 do you have a better rivaling idea? Because then the burden of proof is off of us. We have just shown you our reasoning why these options don't work. Abstract numbers don't work. 1 + 1 doesn't create 2. 1 + 1 explains the addition of ending up in 2. It doesn't create 2. It merely defines and shows the objects. The numbers don't themselves do that. So the theist is free, handcuffs free, because he has proven this through what he can prove with, through the facts that he is accessible to. Therefore, the atheist must either counter it, which there is really no way to counter that, or provide a theory for which then now they have the burden of proof to prove it to us. So philosophically, metaphysically, this is a very big question of the Kalam. And I'm not saying this is 100% type proof, but I'm saying there is so much good reason to believe an unembodied, intelligent creator created our universe, as opposed to unguided, unintelligent, inorganic to organic creation.
Okay then, supply that evidence, as so far you have failed to give any whatsoever. It could appear in the last 3 minutes 20 seconds of your video, but as regular exposure to this argument has shown me, I shouldn't get my hopes up. To conceptualize where we are at, imagine this conversation is a pump rocket contest where the rocket needs to reach a height of 10 feet to win. That's the answer, 10 feet. So far, our design teams have taken differing approaches to creating their rocket, and whilst none of them are there, the naturalistic explanations have at least got off the ground by a couple of feet. Meanwhile, the theistic rocket simply fell over. That is where we are at. The number of assumptions being made for the theistic argument keep the rocket grounded, and yet that design team has claimed victory and demands to be named the winner unless the other rockets can make 10 feet. That is how ridiculous your argument actually is.
And the last thing I want to end on here with this discussion of Kalam and cosmological creation is we will not be able to understand at a certain point. You know, with atheism and scientism, there is a very big point about we can figure out more and more and more. That's what the search is for. They think there is something other than God that explains our universe. But being within their system, within their system of existence, how can they rationally conclude that God is not existent?
Because there is no evidence to support God as an explanation whatsoever. Period. End of game. That is how. You cannot just assert something is proven when you have not validated your claims. Fact is, this entire exercise has been self-defeating. Why? Because the purpose of the Kalam is to prove God exists, and yet you are having to claim and assert that God is proven to exist by means other than the Kalam to defend the Kalam proving God exists. You have done nothing actually to defend the Kalam as an argument for God's existence at all. So why are we discussing the Kalam if you yourselves have acknowledged that the Kalam itself doesn't prove a God?
That last point was a little hard to, maybe a little weird or philosophical, but really harp on what I've been talking about here with regards to Kalam, the objections, and as corny as it's going to sound like an apologetics commercial, but it's really not. Pick up this book, On Guard, William Lane Craig. Read the objections. Go online. Watch people defend Kalam. Watch people go against Kalam. And weigh the evidence. I mean, really, don't just devote yourself to the ideology, but actually examine the premises, conclusions. Listen to guys like Dan Barker, who point out and are honest when they say there's no special pleading and there's no begging the question on the Kalam. He's willing to admit that. No logical fallacies are committed in the Kalam cosmological argument either. Please, I encourage you, look at these, really examine the evidence, hence my channel, new name, and yeah, I know this is kind of more straightforward video.
I wish you would take your own advice and not simply resort to dishonestly portraying people such as Barker, who gave ways for theists to avoid begging the question around the Kalam, before noting that doing so refutes the Kalam as an argument for God's existence. I wish you took your own advice before telling others to follow your advice. Maybe consider living as you say.
But I'd love to have a dialogue with you guys in the comment section. I know we have a good mix of theists and atheists subscribe to this channel. If you watch my previous video or comment thread that I'll release on YouTube regarding my position, please check that out. But thanks, guys, and until next time, this is Phil. Oh,
signing off. Sorry.
You're good. He's doing important stuff. So, thanks guys so much for watching Examining Evidence today. Seriously, read the Kalam, watch Anti-Citizen X Theoretical Bullshits video, watch Craig. I mean, if you're willing to watch a counter video to the Kalam, then please watch William Lane Craig's Comprehensive Defenders class. That's a half-hour show defending the premises. A 10-minute video is going to have a harder job of debunking something that's defended that well. So, thanks guys for watching. I know this is kind of like an inductive/deductive video, but thanks so much guys for watching, tuning in to Examining Evidence, and we'll see you next time.
Whoa now, hold on. Instant replay. Are you seriously doing it? Really? Well, that's just a dick move. Oh, and Craig's defences have been taken to town repeatedly by countless people. He just keeps asserting the same beaten arguments as if he were doing CPR. It is quite pathetic to watch, actually. But I am sure my viewers will be happy to oblige your request in highlighting the many issues with your video. I would say with the evidence you brought forward, but since there was no actual evidence or examination of said evidence, that will not likely be happening. So yeah, wasn't in that last 3 minutes and 20 seconds. Maybe next time you should consider doing some referencing, quoting, statistics, and actual evidence. Just a bit of advice there. This is Essence of Thought. Take care and out. Hello there, it's just me, Peter or Ethel, the creator of Essence of Thought. I just wanted to thank you for watching and to remind you to rate, comment and share this video on Facebook and Twitter. If you'd like to further support my channel, a link to my Patreon page can be found in the description below, where you can donate money on a regular basis and receive goodies in return. With that said, thank you again, take care.